time talking about it.
All right.
Yay.
Better
So
than post.
let's go to your class and pull it up. Listen, I've told you before, I'm just looking for y'all to turn something in just in case they ask for it, okay? I could care less. But anyway, here is the project page. And right now you should be working on part 1. Part 1 says that. Okay? That's all it is. You just write down for the next how many weeks? 4 weeks. Everything you spend. Okay?
Oh, God.
Now, what we're going to do is basically we're going to make a budget. Okay? Since most of y'all don't know what a budget is and y'all are just ignorant, we're going to make a budget so y'all will know what to do, okay? I'd much rather, I told them to do taxes and they didn't want to do taxes. I said, half these people don't even know how to fill out their own income tax. And they said,
Why did
oh,
they
no,
say
we're going to do a budget.
Yeah, no.
Now, when you pull up the spreadsheet, it should, okay, it won't print out?
It wasn't even showing up this morning.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, there it is.
It's not showing up right now.
Well,
It's-
I
yeah.
really don't know what this is for. I mean, unless they're just showing you an example, but they didn't give me, they just said spreadsheet.
It says example.
Yeah. So evidently, y'all are too stupid to figure this out. So they've got to give you this as an example.
$3 on lunch.
Or they want you to print this out and use this grid. Evidently, your notebook paper's not good enough, so
It won't allow us to print out. Do you want us to just write it then?
just get you a little notebook and write it down. It ain't no big deal. I don't understand why they, I guess I know why they had to, because you have to send so many sheets of paper, I guess. I don't know. Now, I also want you to read the rest of them. I want you to print out what you can, okay? Print out what you can and read it. And I want you to get some kind of gist of what they're asking for, because I got to go through and read it to see. I'm assuming that they're going to categorize, and you're going to categorize into lodging, into transportation, entertainment. Entertainment can mean eating out, or it can mean movies, or phone bill, electric bill, water bill. Does everybody see where we're going with this? Okay.
Yes.
So I want y'all to go ahead and be thinking about that and reading it, because all I want from y'all, I haven't looked and seen what they want. They probably want you to write a 5-page essay on a budget, but I've got to read this too. So we're doing this together, okay? Now, can we get to math now? I do need y'all to start doing the 4-week. That's the biggest thing, because you have to spend 4 weeks doing it. And I can't do it in Unit 3 where I want to do this, because they put this as Unit 1. Everybody see what I'm saying? I don't want to do Unit 1. I've got 3 or 4 students in here that are taking Math 120, and I'm going to line my Math 120 with 103 like I've been doing for the last 6 or 7 years. So I don't want this to mess that up. So what I want you to do as a group, I want you to go ahead and take the initiative. We will come back to it probably in Unit 3, but I'll probably be sending you emails as I get them, because they're sending me emails on when to do it. So that's all I can tell you. It's not really my priority. My priority is to teach y'all Unit 1 and Unit 2, which is probability and statistics right now. Then we'll get to this. So I think 90% of the content of this is each one of you writing down everything that you're doing. And I would go ahead, if I was you, I would go ahead and put it in categories. Because somewhere down here, they're going to ask you to put it in categories. You might want to look and see what kind of categories. Let's see. There we go. So print that one out. That's part 2 spreadsheet. And you might want to just look at some of these and go ahead and write them down, the expenses. And that's probably what they're going to want you to do. Now, some of you that don't live at home, you might want to ask your parents. I mean, some of you that do live at home, you might want to ask your parents what they would charge you if they were renting your room out, and use that. And then make a note of that in your notes so you could include that. Okay? So right now, just include everything that you spend per month. And that's what this is, 4 weeks per month. Okay? Thank you for bringing that up, Ms. Jeter.
You're welcome.
Anybody got any question about writing down what you're spending?
Do we start that today?
Yeah, start that today, please. For me, and like I say, I'm going to be very lenient on this because it's the first time we've done it, and I don't mind doing projects, don't get me wrong. I just don't like to be forced to do anything. And when somebody comes into my classroom and forces me to do something, I have a problem with that because it's called academic freedom. When you're teaching a class, you're supposed to teach the way this is K through 12 bull crap. Oh, you have to fill this out. You have to do a reflection, and then you have to do a rubric, and then you have to. That's bull crap. All right? I'm sorry, but that's bull crap. That's some of that federal bureaucracy crap. All right. Anyway, start writing it down. That's all I want you to do. Get you a little notebook. Get you a piece of notebook paper and write down everything. And what is also, it's kind of like when you do a journal when you're dieting. What is it supposed to make you aware of?
What's
How much you're
going in
spending.
and what's coming out.
That's what it's supposed to do, okay? Really? Okay? All right, so let's get off of this, please, if you don't mind. I'm going back to the 120 because I'm not going to teach you with these slides. I'm going to teach you with the 120 slides
Okay.
because I'm not going to fool with this book. So, let's go here. Oh, I already got chapter 5 pulled up. Somebody tell me what the last thing I gave y'all in your book was, please. I mean, your notebook.
The convenient sampling.
Convenient sampling. Okay, thank you. Give me time.
Oh, I missed you.
That's probability. Oh, I'm on the wrong section. I'm sorry. Let me get out of this. Instructor resources, PowerPoint, number 1, and number 2. There we go. And slideshow, automatic, primary. Y'all should be able to see my screen. Can y'all see it? I hope so.
Yes, sir.
There's convenience sample. Parameter. There's convenience sample right there. So I did go over convenience sample, right?
Yeah.
We're on 5, right?
Correct. We should be on 5C.
Thank you. And 5E is the next one, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we did finish 5A?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so statistical reasoning. going to be talking about frequency tables. Write that down. Frequency table is a 25-cent word for a chart. Can't use chart, that's too redneck. You got to use frequency table. And sometimes in statistics and probability, they make up words to make it sound more impressive. Okay? Remember that. Because some of these words, you can just get by with saying a chart or a table. You don't have to say a frequency table. All right? It has two columns. On the left side, you're going to have categories if it is qualitative data. Blondes, brunettes, redheads. Okay? If you have data that is qualitative, you're going to have categories on the left. Now, also write down categories cannot be calculated. Somebody give me the average of blondes, brunettes, and redheads. Somebody give me the midpoint. You can't. So with qualitative data, you can't do frequency table calculations. You can just say, okay, this is what it is. So somebody tell me what quantitative data will have. I'll give you a hint. It starts
Numbers.
with a C.
Numbers?
Nope. Starts with a C. Think of boxing and wrestling.
Competition.
Well, think of how wrestling and boxing is broken up.
Into groups?
Weight classes.
Classes. So if you're dealing with qualitative data, blondes, brunettes, and redheads, your left side of the table is going to be categories. If you're dealing with quantitative data, then you're going to be broken up into classes. And of course, they don't tell you that. They'll wait till you forget about that, and then they'll tell you something else. I'm sorry. Okay? So go ahead and put that down. Qualitative categories, quantitative classes. And on the right-hand side is the frequency. And frequency is a 25-cent word for head count. So if I have a blondes, brunettes, and redheads survey in the classroom here at Anderson campus, okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 brunettes, 5 brunettes, 2 blondes, 3 blondes, and no redheads. So blondes, brunettes, and redheads is my category, and then my head count is what I just said. Okay? And if I want in or I want the total, what do? I add the head count up, and that should give me 8 people in this classroom. Okay? If I wanted to do ages, then I would have to do, let's see, 15 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, so-and-so, and then I would ask them what their ages were. Now that would be quantitative. Make sure you know the difference between a quantitative frequency table and a qualitative frequency table. Cumulative frequency. No, forget cumulative frequency, it's worthless. Relative frequency. Do you know what the relative frequency is?
Percent.
It's a percentage. So mark through that and put percentage of the class or a percentage of the frequency. So let's just go back and let's just do this. So I'm going to make a table on the board, the wall there. And on this table, I'm going to do blondes, brunettes, and redheads. And I said a while ago there was 4, 5, 3, and 0. So that's my head count. This is my categories. So if I wanted to get a relative frequency, that would be percentage. Now, in order to have a percentage, you've got to have a total. Somebody tell me what the total is. Here's 8. That means you're going to put an 8 here, an 8 here, an 8 here, and the 5 goes here, and the 3 goes here, and the 0 goes here. And somebody give me 5 divided by 8 on your calculator.
62 and a half.
60.625. So that would be 62.5%. 3 divided by 8 is what? Well, it should be 0.375.
Yeah.
And then I'll get this one for you. 0. So your frequency, your relative frequency is your percentage. Your frequency is your head count. And if you have qualitative data, you'll have categories, and if you have quantitative data, you're going to have classes. Now let's do the cumulative frequency. The cumulative frequency is you just add up all the numbers. You start with 5. What's 5 plus 3?
8.
And that's it. Well, you add it, the last number is supposed to be it. So that's it. 8 is a cumulative frequency. And it's really worthless. They're going to ask you that on a test, so make sure you know how to do it. You add them all up, but it's really statistically, mathematically, it's worthless. Technically, you found the cumulative frequency when you found the head count, the total head count, but anyway. Oh, that's what you do. You write 5. I had it wrong. It's so difficult. I'm in a very sarcastic mood today, if y'all can't tell.
I can tell.
Yeah. I'm just pissed off. These people, I'm kidding you, they have a life. Anyway, so let's do another one. Let's do ages. I'm going to do 15 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, 30 to 34. And here is our frequency. All right, how many of y'all 15 to 18? 15 to 19. Raise your hand high so I can see it. Okay, there's 4. How many are 20 to 24? 3. How many are 25 to 29? Somebody's not participating. Okay, thank you. 1. All right, I'm gonna let y'all do the relative frequency. So y'all do the relative frequency. I'll do the last one for you.
I'm 15 now.
Forget it. So 4 over 8. I'll do that one for you. So what's 3 over 8? What did we say that was?
0.375.
0.375, and then add those two together, 0.875, 0.125. There, y'all just done the relative frequency. The cumulative frequency. 4 plus 3 is what? 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. Actually, you know what I think happened a long, long time ago? I think that there was a mathematician guy, and he couldn't pass mathematics. So he decided to quit mathematics, and he decided to make his own branch of mathematics called statistics. But statistics was not fluent enough for him to say that he was a scholar, so he started making up stuff just so he could sound smart. Because a lot of things in statistics is not the impressive words that you, just like a histogram. They make up this histogram, and y'all know what a histogram is?
Bar graph.
Bar chart. But they call it a histogram in statistics. Just like this. This is a relative frequency. In any other math class, it would be called a what? A percentage. Or a ratio. Four-over ratio. So, you take it for what it's worth. Sometimes I think they make stuff up just to make it sound impressive. Although, we as humans don't do that. We don't try to impress other people, do we? Oh, I can't pay my bills, but I'm in New Orleans. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I'm $1 million in debt, but I'm going to New Orleans. First column list, all the categories of data. I've already talked about that. We've already talked about that. Second, we already went all over that. Qualitative data. We've already talked about this. Quantitative data. Did we talk about this the other day? Quality,
No.
not quantity. Quality is anything that's non-mathematical. Blondes, brunettes, redheads. Green eyes, brown eyes, blue eyes. What's interesting about green-eyed people? They make up only 2% of the population. What's special about brown-eyed people? They're the best-looking people. Period. Blue-eyed people, they're just hanging around somewhere. Anyway, what else is qualitative? How about Social Security numbers?
No.
Qualitative. How about zip codes? Qualitative. Write these down because they will be on a standardized test and people will get those wrong. How about area codes? Qualitative. Why are those three numbers not quantitative? Well, I'll tell you what. Add up 2 Social Security numbers and see if you get another Social Security number. You don't. You get a bunch of numbers, but it's not a Social Security number because a Social Security number has to be what? 9 digits. If you add up 2 Social Security numbers, you might get 12, 15 digits. See what I'm saying? How about a zip code? Add 2 zip codes and see if you get another zip code. You don't. Add 2 area codes and see if you get another area code. So if you add 2 numbers up and it doesn't make sense, then that means it's not mathematical. Okay? Everything else is quantitative. Quantitative is numbers, weights, ages, shoe sizes, heights. Those are just some off the top of my head. And they're going to talk about discrete and continuous. Probably, well, they do in probability next. So that means in this class, I'm probably 2 chapters from now. Let's see. We just talked about that. I didn't know we called it a bin. I thought we called it categories and classes. Oh well, we call it a bin now. Okay? Put bin and draw a line out of bin and put categories for qualitative data and classes for quantitative. Oh, I get it. They're calling classes a bin. That's what they're calling them. I'm not, I just went through this. I didn't go through this one, but. Okay, this is a good place. I want to stop and give you some definitions. Okay, one definition is called, and we're going to do this in green because it's important. Class width. Because you're going to be given a question on a test, and they're going to tell you to find the class width, the midpoint, and all that good stuff. And the class width, this side right here, is called the lower class limit. Lower class limit. And this side right here is called the upper class limit. I'm not going to write it all out. This is the lower class limit, and this side over here is the upper class limit. To find the class width, subtract 2 upper class limits or 2 lower class limits, and they've got to be coinciding. They've got to be coinciding. So what is 95 minus 90? 5. What is 90 minus 85? What is 85 minus 80?
5.
What is 99 minus 94?
1.
So our class width on this problem is 5. Now that's important because you're going to use that here in just a second. Now we're going to find the midpoint. Midpoint is easy. It's kind of like finding the mid-range. Midpoint, and you can put mid-range also in your notes. Midpoint and mid-range are the same thing, formula-wise. Lower plus the higher divided by 2. Lower plus the higher divided by 2. So since we're talking about the first one, 95 plus 99 divided by 2. Well, that's going to be 104. I mean, not 104. Sorry. It's going to be 194, right? 194 divided by 2 is what? 97?
Yeah.
The midpoint's 97. Somebody add it up and see if you get 97.
97.
So the midpoint of each of this class, or the first class, is 97. So I'm going to put M is equal to 97. Now you can either calculate each one, or you can just add the class width to 97. What's 97 plus 5? They got this thing
104.
backwards. Hold on. You got to go backwards because this book is terrible. 99% of your dadgum classes go from the lowest to the highest. Not in this book. It goes from highest to lowest. Sorry. We got to subtract. So what's 97 minus 5?
90.
What's 92 minus 5?
87.
What's 87 minus 5?
82.
And I'm going to, 82 minus 5 is
77.
Now add these two together. What's 70 plus 74? 144? And what's half of 144?
72.
And 77 minus 5 is, so you can, I don't care how you calculate the midpoint, But that's two different ways you can count the midpoint. But you gotta do this one first. Or do the bottom one first. If you do the bottom one first, you have to add 5 going up. And that's usually the way these things are. I don't ever see one in the Math 120 book going from the biggest numbers down. And of course, I showed you how to do the rest of it. Now, you're talking 2 or 3 questions on the test here. So, you need to write this down. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing about a frequency distribution. And that is the boundaries. Class boundaries. The class boundaries, if you have whole numbers, the class boundary is going to be in the 10th. If you have tenths, the class boundary is going to be to the 100th. If you have hundredths, then your class boundary is going to be in the thousands. Y'all get the pattern? So, what is right below, and of course you want to start from the bottom, because this is, I'm going to take red, and I don't usually use red. So what is below 70? And this is a whole number, so we've got to go to the 10th. So I'm going to use 69.5. And then add 5. Somebody add 5 to it.
74.5.
And so on. 79.5. 84.5. And 89.5. And 94.5. All right, now you do the class boundaries on the right. Well, they're going to be the same number right here. 89.5 is going to be right here. 84.5 is going to be right here. 79.5 is going to be right there. 74.5 is going to you see where they are. They're class boundaries. They're the number that's between the classes. Now, could I have used 89.9? Yes. But most of the time, when you're dealing with a whole number, that tenth is going to be 0.5 most of the time. If you're dealing with a hundredth, then it's going to be 0.95. And I haven't even done any to the thousandth, but I would assume it would be 0.955 or something like that. Question on that one. Technically, this is our first math problem. Both of these are important. They're important. Now, you don't have to write it down. Y'all know what a bar chart is, and y'all know what a pie chart is. But go ahead and make a note of it. There they are. Now, you can write those down. And I'm going to show you what's important to know about them. Go ahead and take a minute to sketch them in your notes. Oh, I watched 2 movies this weekend.
What'd you see?
The Grudge.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is good. It was scary. It was good. I mean, it wasn't as scary as, Annabelle or anything, but it was scary. I liked it. And, well, heck, I can't remember the other one. Oh, Underwater.
Underwater? Huh.
Oh, that's that new one.
No, that's, yeah, 7 miles on the bottom of the ocean, yeah. It's kind of like Alien mixed with Poseidon Adventure. And if you haven't watched Poseidon Adventure, then think of a movie where somebody's trying to get out of a death trap. And that's basically what it is.
So can I see the what's boundaries?
I would give Underwater a 5 out of 10. I'd give
The
I don't know
Grudge.
the name of it. The Grudge. I'd give it probably a 6 or 7. Anybody see a good movie this weekend? There are not any.
Please. I took my little sister to go see it.
Good.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, she cried in the middle of it. It was funny. I sat there laughing at her.
I believe I would actually marry Sandra Bullock if she would have me as a husband. Marry her. What was that, a duck? What was that?
Sandra Bullock.
Hope Float's one of my favorite movies. Well, pretty much anything with Sandra Bullock in
Sandra
it.
Bullock.
Pretty much, yeah. No, I didn't like her. I didn't like her in that
Miss
movie where she was a real bitch. There was something about premonitions, about these 5 or 6 stories about these people going to meeting their death. I can't remember what the name of it was, but I didn't like her in that. Okay, so here we go. Make sure you can tell me how many people are in this class.
That's why I was confused as to why there were 6 blocks. Right?
Say again. Why are you confused about 6 blocks to 8? What?
25.
Okay, you're not going to share with me. Okay, that's fine. So how many people are in the class? Well, there's 4 here. So we'll take our handy dandy, put a 4 there, put a 7 here, put a 9 here, put a 3 here, and we'll put a 2 here. Now you have to be talented to write with a mouse. You have to be very talented. Anyway, add those up. Dang old 25.
Yep.
So N is equal to 25. Make sure you can do that on a bar chart. Now somebody tell me the difference between a bar chart and a histogram. The columns touch each other. That's the difference. Now somebody tell me what is mathematically significant with the boxes touching each other.
Nothing.
There is no difference between a histogram and a bar chart, except the bars touch each other. That was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of. Now, what do you need to be able to do a bar chart? You've got to be able, if I give you N is equal to 100 students, then how many made an A? 16. How many made an F? 8. How many made a D? 12. How many made a C? 36. Now, if I change this to 1,024, what do you have to do with your calculator unless you're Rain Man? What would you do if N was 1,024? What would A be? Take your calculators out. You need your calculator for that. Unless you're Rain Man, you're not going to be able to do it. Unless you actually do the long multiplication.
And
What
which
do you
number?
do? You multiply 0.16 times 1,024. Somebody tell me what that is.
163.84.
So there's no such thing as 0.84 people, so it'd be 164, right? So make sure you know how to count on a bar chart, and make sure you know how to use a pie chart. There's probably 1 or 2 questions on the test like that. That's a gimme. Everybody should know how to do that. I'm going to leave that on the board for a few seconds so you can watch the video and write it down. But that's not a big deal. I think all of you know that whenever you do a graph, you should title it. I know y'all took biology, right?
Yeah.
Anybody that took biology, what's the first thing you do on a graph?
Put a title.
Title it.
You got to title it. Vertical scale, vertical axis is your y-axis. Oh, shut up. No, this is, no, what I wake up to is, bang, 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 bang. Anyway, vertical scale is your y-axis, horizontal scale is your x-axis. Okay, histogram, here's a histogram. Let's see if they show a histogram. There's your histogram. Boy, there's a lot of difference in that and the bar chart, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's important. Line graphs are important because they're just a bar chart without the bars. Okay, that's enough for today. Y'all go ahead and do your convulsions and I'll take the roll.